Hello, and welcome to your 30-minute yoga class for beginners. We're going to begin today in this easy cross of the legs seated position. And if you'd like, you can find something to sit on. I'm using a block, but you can also use a fluffy cushion if you don't have a block, just something that's going to give you a little bit of height. It can help make this pose a little bit more comfortable. So when you're ready, coming to meet me in this easy cross-legged seat, bring your hands to rest on your thighs. Press your sit bones down into the mat to grow the spine tall. Let your shoulders soften away from the ears. And if it feels right for you, you can close the eyes. Otherwise, just gazing softly off the tip of your nose. To begin today, we are going to take 3 rounds of cleansing breath. On my cue, we'll take a deep breath in through the nose, and then we'll sigh it out of the mouth. To begin, let's finish off our exhale where we are. Taking that inhale through the nose, sipping in as much air as you can. Open the mouth, sigh it out, exhale to let it go. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. Last round here, inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out, let it go. As you exhale, you might feel those shoulders soften even further away from the ears. As you settle into our easy seat here today. Bringing your focus now to the natural rhythm of your breath in and out through your nose. Keep length in the spine, keep sitting tall, and keep softening the shoulders away from the ears. We'll start to find some gentle movement with the head, inviting some length into the neck. Begin by letting your chin drop in towards the chest. Try not to let the whole spine round here isolate that stretch into the back of the neck. If you'd like, you can take your hands, interlace them behind the head. Let the forearms wrap in towards the temples. We're not pulling the head down here, we're simply resting the hands and letting that additional weight carry the chin in closer towards the chest. Bringing your awareness back to that natural rhythm of your breath. And then if you have the hands interlaced behind the head, mindfully release. Keep the chin in towards the chest. Just let your right ear roll over towards your right shoulder. Breathing into the left side of our neck here now. Staying with that natural rhythm of your breath. Take one more inhale breath as you are. And stay for the breath out. Good. Just bring the chin back through center, back in towards the chest. Left ear this time slowly semicircles over towards the left shoulder. Breathing into the right side of our neck now, following that natural rhythm of our breath. Enjoying one more breath in through the nose. Staying for the breath out. Letting the chin semicircle back in towards the chest. One round of breath here, inhaling through the nose. Exhaling back out through the nose. Lifting the chin when you're ready, bringing the chin so it's parallel to the mat. Let's come forward onto our hands and knees to find a tabletop position. If you were sitting on something, just placing it off to the side. We don't need it anymore. When you bring your hands to your mat, you want to spread your fingers nice and wide. Index fingers are pointing towards the front of your mat. Shoulders come directly over our wrists and our hips stack directly over our knees. We'll move through 5 rounds of cat and cow here with our breath. As you inhale, start to let your belly button lower towards the mat. Tilt your sit bones to the sky and look forward. Exhale, press your hands down into the mat. Start to round the back. Chin comes into the chest, tuck your tailbone under. 4 more with your breath as you inhale, coming into your cow pose, tilting the sit bones, looking forward. Exhale, press the hands down, lift the belly away from the floor, chin into chest. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat, rounding the spine, pressing the floor away from you. This is where we start to find length and depth in our breaths, taking as big and long of an inhale as you can, coming through that cow pose. Exhale, pressing the floor away, rounding the spine for your cat. You've got 1 more round. Breath in, cow pose. Breath out for your cat. Meeting back in that neutral tabletop position. And then from here, we'll step our right foot to the back of the mat. Toes are tucked under. Press into the hands and just really send that right heel down towards the mat. I have yet to meet anyone who can get the heel to touch the mat here, but I'm sure it's not impossible for some. Inviting length into our calf, maybe all the way up through the back of that right leg. Good, and then just rock forward, release out of it. We'll come back into it 1 more time. Press into the hands, send that right heel down towards the floor. Breathe into the back of the leg. Full breath in. Full breath out. Bring that right knee back to meet the left, resetting in that neutral tabletop position. Left foot steps to the back of the mat this time. Lengthen that left heel down towards the floor. Press into the hands. You might notice that my shoulders are now slightly behind my wrists as I send that left heel back and down. Take that full breath in through the nose. Full breath out. Good. Bring the left knee back to meet the right. Let's give those shoulders a bit of a break. Take the knees out wide. Bring the big toes to touch. Hips go back towards the heels. You can stay with the arms reaching forward here, or if the shoulders are feeling a little bit fatigued, you'd like to give them a rest, you can stack the hands, bring the forehead to the backs of the hands, melting the chest down towards the mat, breathing into the hips. Let's enjoy another 2 rounds of breath here in child's pose. This is a nice place to come back and reconnect to our breath. It's also our resting pose, so if at any point in our practice today you'd like to come back and find a child's pose, please come back here and you can join back in when you feel ready. We'll start to make our way out of child's pose, coming through our tabletop just as a transition, meeting back on hands and knees, bringing the knees so that they come underneath the hips. We'll find our first downward facing dog today. Tuck the toes under, lift your knees away from the mat, send your hips up and back behind you, creating this inverted V with the body. You may need to step the feet back a little bit further away from the hands, or maybe you've landed with the feet in a position that feels right for you. Have a little play if you're unsure. The beauty of yoga is that it allows us to explore our bodies and cultivate this body awareness. What feels good for you versus what doesn't, and how can you make any small shifts or adjustments to find that right position for you. On an inhale breath, we're going to come forward into a high plank position, bringing our shoulders back over the wrist. Option to keep your knees lifted away from the floor here, option to lower the knees down. Slightly different to our tabletop position. You may notice that once the knees come down, thighs are now on this diagonal. Here with me with the knees on the mat, or maybe the knees are lifted. Wherever you are, you're looking down towards the floor in between the thumbs. Let's take another breath in together. As you begin to exhale, start to bend the elbows and slowly lower yourself all the way down towards your mat. If you came from a plank, you'll just untuck the toes. Hands stay beside the low ribs. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Press the pubic bone down into the mat so that you're engaging the glutes. As you inhale, lift your head and chest away from the floor. Try to use your hands as minimally as possible here so that you're using the muscles of the back body to lift you up and you're not using that leverage of pressing into the hands. Bit more of an active cobra that we're working here today. Maybe you even hover the hands away from the mat. That's it. Take one more breath in. Can you lift the chest a little bit higher away from the floor? As you exhale, bring the forehead back down to the mat. From here, tuck the toes. Your knees can stay on the mat or maybe lift the knees away, engage the front of the quads. Make your way back up into your high plank variation. And then we'll find downward facing dog. Take the hips up and back. Let's take a full round of breath together in downward facing dog. In through the nose. Back out through the nose. Take your gaze towards the top of the mat, look in between the hands, and slowly tiptoe the feet. Take little steps to walk your feet all the way to the top of the mat to meet the hands just behind the hands. Feet are about hip width apart here. I've got a generous bend in my knees. We'll come into a rag doll, catching opposite elbows with the hands. Let your head hang heavy here, so let the head relax. I always like to look between my legs to a point on the back wall. And then you may like to invite a little sway side to side with the torso. Maybe nod your head yes. Maybe shake it no. Let's enjoy one more round of breath together here, in through the nose. Back out through the nose. Release your elbows, let your fingertips find the mat. Start to press into the feet. Take a big breath in, reach the arms out wide, take them overhead, maybe gaze up towards the thumbs. Exhale, bring the hands together in front of your heart. Let the hands rest down beside the hips, finding our mountain pose. So we're standing at the top of our mat. Our feet are about hip width apart, palms facing to the front of the room. Let's take a full round of breath, standing tall here, in through the nose, out through the nose. On an inhale breath, reach those arms wide all the way overhead. Palms will come to meet. As you exhale, soft bend into the knees. Bring the hands through heart center and then release the hands all the way down to your mat. Hands come or fingertips come to the shins. Lift your chest halfway to find a flat back. Think about that flat back that we had in our tabletop pose. As you exhale, take a softening into the knees, a bigger bend into the knees. Release the fingertips down to the mat, fold forward. Plant your hands down, step your left foot to the back of the mat, and lower the left knee down. If you need to find some extra cushioning for the knee here, you're welcome to. If you don't have anything close by, an easy way is to just fold that mat over so you double it up. Take some weight into the right foot. With the breath in, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. And with your breath out, settle into your low lunge. Starting to tune into where you're feeling the pose in the body here. This is a really nice way to open across the front of your hips, into the hip flexors. We're reaching the fingertips up towards the ceiling to find length in the spine. Hug the low ribs into the body so we keep this nice vertical torso. Take one more breath in with me and a breath out. Hands are going to come down to the mat, either side of that right foot. Plant them down. Tuck your left toes and lift your left knee away from the floor, coming up into our runner's lunge. Working to straighten that left leg, that back leg, but there might be a bend in the knee. You can come up onto fingertips here if it gives you a little bit more space. Take a deep breath in. Can you reach the center of your heart forward so that you lengthen the spine? As you exhale, we're starting to press into that right foot. Start to straighten the leg as best you can. We're coming into a wide pyramid. Our feet are a little bit wider apart than they would be for a traditional pyramid. I really love this one to stretch into the back of the hamstring. That front leg might not be all the way straight. That's okay, as long as you're getting that stretch into the back of the leg. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. Rebend into that right knee completely, and then step your left foot to the top of the mat to meet in that forward fold at the front of our mats. Fingertips come to the shins. Lift your chest halfway, come into that flat back. Take a breath in. Bend into the knees, fold in towards the legs. Exhale, breath, fingertips find the floor. Press into the feet, take a big breath in, reach your arms wide and all the way up to the sky. Exhale, come right back into that forward fold. Bend into the knees. Bring the hands together through your heart. Release them down to the mat. Fingertips find the shins. Lift the chest halfway. Inhale. Exhale to fold in towards the legs. Plant the hands. It's our right foot that steps to the back of the mat this time. Lower to the right knee. Option to pad the knee if you need to. Fold the mat in half. Arms reach up to the sky. Inhale, breath. Exhale, we stay. Thinking of those same cues as the first side, reaching the fingertips up to the sky to lengthen the spine, drawing the low ribs in so that we stay vertical in the torso. Take a full breath here together, in through the nose, out through the nose. Release your hands down to the mat, either side of that left foot. Tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee away from the mat. We meet back in that runner's lunge. Left knee's reaching forward and that right heel's reaching back. You may have a little bend in that right knee. Breathing into it. Stay with me, you're doing great. Start to press into that left foot. We're working to straighten that left leg as best as we can to invite that stretch, that lengthening into the back of the leg, into that hamstring. Come back to your breath. Take one more inhale. Stay for the exhale. Rebending into left knee. Right foot steps to the front of your mat, finding that forward fold. Fingertips to shins, lift the chest halfway. Inhale. Exhale, soft bend into the knees, fold in towards the legs. Press through the feet. Inhale, reach the arms wide. Reach them overhead, bring the palms to touch. We come back into that forward fold with the breath out, bending into the knees. Hands through heart center. Fingertips find the mat. Fingertips to shins, lift your chest halfway. Inhale. Exhale, take your hands down to the mat. Step your feet back, high plank. Knees lifted here, knees can come down to the mat. Gaze in between the thumbs, take a breath in. Start to bend the elbows, exhale, lower all the way to your belly. Leave the hands beside the low ribs, untuck the toes. Inhale for your cobra. See if you can use the muscles here to lift the chest and head away from the floor. Stay light in the hands. That's it. Keep grounding the pubic bone, pressing the pubic bone into the mat to engage the glutes. Inhale, lifting that chest a little bit higher. And then exhale, forehead comes down to find the mat. From our bellies, we'll make our way back into a child's pose, pressing up onto hands and knees. Take your knees out wide, bring the big toes to touch. Hips go back towards the heels. Forehead towards the mat. Arms can stay reaching forward, or that option to stack the hands, forehead to the backs of the hands. Let's enjoy 3 rounds of breath here. In and out through the nose. Connecting to your unique rhythm of breath. Seeing if you can keep your breaths long and deep. Inhale to breathe in as much air as you can, slow and steady. Exhaling it all out through the nose, slow and steady. Slowly making your way up into your tabletop position. Transitioning through our tabletop to come to sit on our mats, taking both knees to one side, hips to the other, and then swinging the legs around to the top of the mat. Right leg will extend out long. We'll bend the left knee and the left foot will place on the mat. You can either have that left foot on the inside of the leg, or you might cross it over to the outside. Left fingertips are going to come to the floor behind the hips. Use the fingertips on the floor here to help lift the chest and lengthen the spine. Inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. Exhale to twist. Option 1, you can either hug the left knee with your right arm or elbow to the outside of the knee. Opening your chest around to the left. Hopefully you've got a nice view, or maybe you've closed the eyes. Take one more breath in and enjoy the breath out. Come back through center, release. Take both legs out long in front of you, hands behind the hips. Give the legs a bit of a wiggle. Left leg will stay extended out long. Right foot comes to the mat, knee is bent. Foot on the inside of the leg, or hop it over to the outside. Right fingertips to the floor behind you this time. Left arm up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, either hugging that right knee in or left elbow to the outside of the knee, opening the chest around to the right side. Stay with your breath here. Enjoy one more deep breath in and a deep breath out. Turn to face the front of your mat. Release the right leg. Hands beside the hips or just behind. Give the legs a little wiggle. I like to shuffle my hips to the middle of the mat. We'll make our way down onto our backs. If you have your hair tied up, this can be a nice place to just untie your hair or release it out. And then slowly and mindfully come down onto your back. We'll bring the knees into the chest. Catch the front of the shins. You may take a gentle rock side to side here. Nice massage for the back of the hips. Keep a hold of that right knee in towards the chest. Place your left foot down on the mat. Flex your right foot. Draw the toes towards the shin. And then cross your right ankle on top of that left thigh, figure 4. Right hand can come to the inside of that right leg. Gently encourage the right knee forward. Or right hand's going to thread through the legs, that little window, and either catch the back of the legs. You can interlace the hands or the front of the shin. Try to keep the entire back body from the back of the head, back of the shoulders, back of the hips resting on your mat. So if you find that the head and shoulders are lifting up so that you can catch that leg, just ease out and find that other variation with the hand on the inside of the thigh. Stretching that outer right hip. Should feel nice to be down on your back, having the support of your mat beneath you. Let's enjoy 2 more rounds of breath. One more inhale through the nose. Exhale back out through the nose. Letting go of that left leg if you have it. Bring both soles of the feet to the mat, knees are bent. Take your feet to the edges of your mat, heel toe them right to the edges of the mat, and then let the hips sway side to side. Take the hands down beside the hips. When you're ready, we'll cross our left ankle on top of the right thigh. Flexing through that left foot, draw the toes back towards the shin. Option 1, left hand places on the inside of the left leg, or left arm threads through that little window between the legs. Interlace the hands behind the back of the leg or the front of the shin. Again, we want that back body to be resting and supported by the mat. So if you are lifting off to catch the leg, ease out so that the head and the backs of the shoulders can come back down to the mat. Let's enjoy those 2 rounds of breath. In through the nose, out through the nose. One more deep breath in. And a deep breath out. If you have the right leg releasing, take the feet to the edges of the mat. Let the knees rock side to side. And then slowly extend the legs one at a time out long in front of you. Hands are resting on the floor beside the hips. If you have the space to take the hands a little bit wider, take the feet a little bit wider. Feel free to take up some space here. Let's come back to those cleansing rounds of breath. We'll take 2 rounds of cleansing breath, finishing off your exhale where you are. Deep breath in through the nose, sip in as much air as you can. Sigh it out of the mouth, let it go. Deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out of the mouth, let it go. Allowing yourself to surrender into your Shavasana here. Our final resting pose for our practice. And giving your body this opportunity to absorb the benefits of your practice. I'll let you know when it's time for us to come out. You're welcome to stay longer in your Shavasana if you're comfortable and if you have the time to do so. If you only have the 30 minutes and you're ready to come out, begin to slowly wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe take small circles with the wrists and the ankles. You might like to reach the arms overhead and find a full body stretch. Mindfully making your way onto your right hand side. Finding your fetal position, maybe using your arms as a little pillow for the head. And then from there, slowly make your way up to find that seated position once again. Bringing the hands together in front of your heart. Taking a moment here to show gratitude towards yourself for making this time in your day for you. Thank you so much for flowing with me today. Namaste.